Hi, Steve.
There.
Hey, see if we get some more attendees. I heard that Andrea wasn't feeling too well today, so he might not join.
Okay.
Let's see.
Well, worst case, maybe you can. We'll have a chance for me to ask a couple questions about the schema that you may be able to answer.
Yeah, of course. So how are things going in Deploy Hub then?
Doing good.
All good? Yeah.
Yeah, we're reworking our UI. We have a new UI that we're working on for Ortelius,
Yeah.
and we're moving away from Postgres over to Arango.
Interesting. Oh,
Yeah, we need more.
graph functionality or
Yeah, exactly. And also, it makes it easier when we consume the SBOMs because we can just store them as raw
document.
documents. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I've been quite interested in Arango since many years actually, but I've never tried it myself. Hands-on. I think it would fit quite well for event data as well.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah,
since
we'll probably use it for events as well.
yeah, since there are JSON documents, each event is a JSON document, but also there are relationships between the events, so it would make sense to have a graph representation of them as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, good. So we have two more people joining now, Gerardo and Adam. Welcome. Somewhat Ericsson people, Ericsson software. So majority Ericsson related people here now. Anyway, let's get to it, I guess. So yeah, I can share the agenda start there and see where we end up. Hi, Brett. Now, Brett, hi, welcome. See there. Shut up. I have fly here who's disturbing me. Summer is here. Right. So please sign up on the agenda. I hope you have the link to it. No new attendees really. All of you have been here before sometime. Action items. Well, actually, there were some things we noted in the last minutes that should be discussed, that should be handled. But I think we take those as we go. I added the headings for each of those topics in today's agenda as well. So let's get to it and see if there are any progress happening there. So Steve, you said in the beginning you have some schema questions there, yeah? Would you like to take those first then, or?
Yeah, I'd like to go earlier than later because I have an Ortelius
Sure.
meeting in a few minutes.
Wait.
So I was looking at this schema and two things I was trying to find, and it could just be a naming thing. The first is where is the Git repo and a Git commit stored for the events? I know you had a source field, and I wasn't sure if that was it or.
You mean this one?
Right. Yeah. So this made sense for source code control change, but if you go to like a build, how do you
Right.
know what Git repo the build's working against?
Yeah, that's probably what you don't know explicitly as part of that event itself. That's why where you need a relation to a source change event that has come earlier in time. I would
R-
say this is how I see it. So I don't think there is a dedicated field for it in a build event. Well, where is it now? Where are the build events? Sorry, now I'm
You
confused.
you may need to change to the 5.1 branch.
Oh,
No, just change from main to your latest or 4.
no, but it's 04. I mean, main is the same, right?
Oh, are they the same now?
Oh, well, this is actually behind main. So, oh, and there are some things on top. Okay, sorry. 041 is on top. Yeah, good. Thank you.
Okay, I wasn't. Yeah, all right.
No, no.
Anyways,
Uh, so the build. Oh no, sorry, it's not here. It's continuous integration. Sorry, I'm confused. Here we have the build. Yeah. So this is the subject we're talking about, where the a build is started, for
right,
example. If we have this
right,
started event, you would like to see a reference to the source repository there, right?
right.
Yeah.
So
Eh,
where you have the build sort started, the ID, the source, and the type, is that the previous event or is that this event?
That's this event. So that's the ID of this event.
Okay,
And the build event, I would say, is not very much elaborated at all. It lacks quite a lot of things, I would say. In the artifact event, though, I mean, the build event is kind of representing an activity that has been queued and started and finished. And then when you build something, you build an artifact from that repository or whatever from in that build process, that build activity.
right,
Then you produce an artifact. And in the artifact event, in the packaged event there, we actually have a reference to the change, the git commit that was the source of this artifact being produced. So in this event, we actually have it as a reference, but we don't have it in the build event right now.
okay. So the changed field there is the previous event then. That
Well, it's well, previous event. It's a reference to something that also exists in a previous event, I would say. I mean, it's not an explicit link or not an explicit just an event. Well, actually, it says event ID. It says ID here. I believe this is not an event ID as such. Now I'm a bit
so
uncertain, I realize, but
so in other words, how do I hook all these events together so I can I you know I somebody commits their code.
yeah, yeah.
That triggers a build. The build triggers a artifact. The artifact triggers a deployment. How do I
Mhm.
link all that together through the events?
Very good comment or question. I don't have a page to show where we show how that could be done. And I believe there are actually so far multiple ways to do it. Either you can use the new link concept that exists, or you can use this change relation. I mean, this change is a specific parameter in this event where you can actually relate without having a what should I say, core link or event link between them. So there are actually multiple ways, and I'm afraid we haven't really described that. I mean, those kinds of connected events or scenarios where you send multiple events and how they relate to each other. We haven't ever described that in any documentation, unfortunately.
Yeah, so just to give you some background where I'm coming
Yeah.
at this from is um, on the on the artifact packaged event, you have the plural up there as where the how the artifact was packaged. But in order to generate, you need to be able to link. If I find a bug in that package, where is the source code that that package is associated to so I can go fix something if I just have the plural. So that's where I need to know the git repo and the git commit of for the artifact. And if I can go through and find the follow the path of the events to get there, that will work.
Mm.
Same thing like in the OpenSSF scorecard. If you generate an OpenSSF scorecard, the only way you can get back and do the reporting on that scorecard is if you have the Git repo and the Git commit. Otherwise, it's lost.
Mm. Mm.
So a lot of this stuff evolves around the Git commit. Same thing like with the SBOM. Right here, you're generating an SBOM with the artifact, but if there's a separate SBOM step in your pipeline that's outside of the artifact, that you need to be able to associate that SBOM back with the Git commit as well. So that's where I'm trying to figure out how to associate the commit with each event. And if I have to go through and follow the path of the events on how they're associated, that's fine. I just need to know how to what's the best way is to do it.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, and I would just repeat again, we don't have that information produced anywhere or that or documented. So, and I'm kind of a bit uncertain myself exactly what is the best way to do it with the current CDEvents specifications that we have. Because now we have the links as well, and with that, I think it can be made a lot easier with references between events.
Yeah,
Uh,
can you where's the link
oh
part
yeah, yeah, yeah.
documented?
Uh,
Is that in core?
it's in a there is a specific page for the linking itself, which is links.md, which is all information about links. But it should also be part of. I mean, this links property is optional in all events, and it is not specified, I think, in any of the specific. Here we have it as well. So I mean, on this spec MD, there is the description of the common data, the common properties, right? In the context, for example. And we have these optional context attributes, which is the chain ID and the links nowadays. And then this is what a link would look like. There are different types of links. It could be paths or relations or some end link here. And they are all described in more detail in this link spec
Okay.
document.
All right, that's what I needed to find out just so I didn't I missed this links
Yeah, yeah,
file. So
yeah,
I was looking at the specific events
right.
themselves for their link definition. Okay,
Mm, mm.
that helps clear things up.
I think it would make sense though to have a description in each event, maybe somehow here saying that, I mean, this is the reference to the common properties for any event as well. So we have that handy from each of these events as well somewhere. I mean, then a link to the spec
Yeah,
document, spec
yeah.
MD. But
Okay,
it's not,
perfect.
yeah. Well, I wouldn't say it's perfect, but it's anyway somehow there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, that's what I needed to find out.
yeah, good, perfect.
Thank you.
Um, okay, so that's maybe all for this topic then that you added there.
Yeah.
Skill questions. Sorry. For example. Yeah. Good. No, thanks for the question, Steve.
Yep. Thanks for the details.
Okay. So from previous minutes, we had these topics of SDK updates and also the working group proposal there for new stuff. So I just thought we should reiterate on those a bit since there were actions from previous meetings on those. So for the Schema URI support, we said last week that Ben was supposed to create a issue in the community repo. I haven't really looked actually if that was done. So maybe we can take a look together since Ben is not here. No, there are no new issues open there recently. So this seems not to be done yet. Does anyone else know anything about any Schema URI updates based on the discussions we had last week? No, here none. Okay, we move on then. So for the Java SDK, there was a request to review this. I unfortunately never had time to do that last week. Yolanda, have you got any
Oh
review?
yeah, so yeah, Ben reviewed, and so I think he has approved. But little things like that we can do it later. So he'll create a GitHub issue for that. So but he has approved to go ahead with this change. So I think
This looks strange. He approved it, but it doesn't show up here. Why is that strange?
He may not be in the reviewers list.
No, okay. Is that needed to end up there? Okay, maybe. Anyway, so Andrea is expected to review as well then, I guess.
yeah,
Or do you think
I'll
it's
check
enough
with
maybe with Ben or sorry?
I'll check with Andrea also to have a look
Mm.
at this and approve. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. Anything else on the Java SDK, Jalander, you want to mention?
No, nothing. Like last meeting, I mentioned that like this is not having schema URI. Schema URI setting is there, but the links are not with this PR. But it will be defined like once Ben has created issues like in how to actually use that schema URI and links. So so yeah, so I'll see like how we can include links also to the SDK. So maybe I'll create another PR like once we get all the details of how to use links for all the SDKs. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. And if we then move on to the working group proposal, and there before you, Steve, you also had
Yeah, that's on my list to do
Yeah.
is to put together the mission statement.
Mm.
So that's I will get that put together this week, and so I believe the meeting's next week. Yeah, to go ahead and get that all out there and for people to look at.
Yeah, we talked about using the time slot next Tuesday, right?
Was it next Tuesday or next Thursday? I can't remember.
Next Tuesday, I think we said that same time slot as the
Okay.
CDEvent is currently. So that's the same time slot as the TOC meeting is, but this week there's a TOC meeting, so next week there's no TOC meeting.
Got it. That works.
Yeah.
So I will get that done.
So perfect. What did I say? Just 25. So Andrea is still expected to set up the calendar and announce it on Slack. And you, Steve, will draw the mission. Good. Anything else around this new working group that is aimed
Not
to
at this point. Once we get the ball rolling, I think we'll have more. I said nothing else on the new working group at this point.
Right. I think that the main thing is to keep the non-spec related things in one group, and then I guess it will be both SDK discussions and tool specific discussions. But of course, depending on who will show up there, it will differ a bit, I guess.
Yeah, and I think there'll be a lot of overlap when
of course
we go try to figure out how to implement something and something's missing in the spec, or you know, just clarification on the spec. That type of thing will happen.
Yeah, we need to have representation in both groups, obviously, so we cannot just have silos discussing in parallel. Yeah, for sure. Good. I haven't added anything else to the agenda. Does anyone have anything to share or discuss or such?
Yeah, at some point, if I'd like to show off the quick demo I have of Flux CDEvents here.
Right. Yeah. Do you want to take it right now, right away?
Yeah. I'm ready to be able to do that. Yeah.
Perfect. Take it away.
Yep. Just a pretty quick demo at this point. I just gotta. Yep. Would I be able to screen share?
Oh, sorry. I will stop sharing first. Otherwise, you cannot
No
start. What? Why do I do that now? There. I'm not used to Zoom. That's why.
Yeah, Teams lets you just take over when you click.
Exactly. That's what I was used to.
Yep. So yeah, as far as demos go, it's pretty quick. I'm just showing off that these are the two Flux or Kubernetes Flux events. These are install succeeded from Helm with all this info, and this there's a drift detected and install succeeded, and so I have this mapping within Flux. The mapping's a bit of I need to actually discuss. The Flux community doesn't seem too keen on having the custom mapping idea that we've kind of been thinking about the last few weeks, but they're more interested in the default events. But yeah, so at the moment it's just mapped to these. So install succeeded should send an environment modified CD event, and a drift detected Kubernetes event should send an incident detected. So yeah, as you can see, if I run these, this test. Sorry, I'm doing it within a test class. Just it kind of emulates sending these two events to a provider with these two mappings, and those are sent, and then you can see these two. So this is from an earlier test. Yeah, it sends these Helm install succeeded. This environment modified. As I said, install succeeded. This Kubernetes event should map and send an environment modified event, which is what's going on here, environment modified. And the same thing with the drift detected should send an incident detected CD event. And all the data from those events are mapped to different data within CD events. Yep. So that's pretty much it as far as this demo goes. Pretty quick.
So in your discussions with the Helm community, in the Flux community there,
community, yeah.
what are their thoughts on how these events would be consumed, or rather by whom and for what purpose? What use cases do they see for the CD events? Is it so that they just want to be conformant with the CD events because it's shiny and cool, or do they see a specific use case for CD events which they cannot solve today with the existing data? Or
so within Ericsson, they saw some pretty valid use of CD events with its kind of integration in multiple tools they were using, so that they were interested, since they were also using Flux, to have some sort of use case within Flux for it. So we're trying to make it as kind of general purpose as possible. And yeah, we've just kind of been keeping in touch with kind of the use case the Ericsson crowd would want it for, and hoping that what they'd want it for would be a pretty general use case too. It seems like they'd want it for just generally integrating CD events into their workflow.
right, so it's nothing really that that the Flux community has, or of course they have accepted it seems, but they haven't embraced it and pushed for it themselves. It's more that they see the need
when I was bringing up the receiver, or when I brought up this, it was both a receiver and a provider, and we decided to split into a receiver and a provider, two different integrations. But they were saying they'd been asked about it once or twice. That could have just been them being nice, for all I know. But they seemed like they had heard of CD events before, and they seemed interested.
Right. Fair enough. Cool. Thank you. Any comments from anyone else around this? Do you think we should have some discussion around the mappings there? If it should be generic CD events or existing CD events, or if it should be these custom events? Is that some discussion we could have in this community, you think, or wherever?
Yeah, I think I need to do one or two more discussions with Flux first. I need to ask the one or two people within Ericsson what they think, because we had kind of been moving forward having these mappings that you'd write yourself, as I just showed, whereas Flux is more interested in just kind of statically having maybe install succeeded. Just is always going to be a task run finished, rather than something you map yourself.
Okay. Fair enough. Good. Thank you, Adam. So that's it. I didn't note any other comments on this, should I? Oh, I don't know what to do. So any more topics? Brett, what's on your mind, for example? Anything?
Yeah. So I was out in San Diego a couple weeks ago, did my event provenance registry workshop, exposed some people to CDEvents.
Wow, yeah.
I'll be glad to tell you guys that they nobody left until I got to the free part of the workshop, where I was like, okay, I taught you all kinds of cool stuff. Now let's go and build something. And then they all left. So that was great.
They left or laughed?
Left. L-E-F-T. Went the hell. So it was a long workshop. It was 6 hours, 4 90-minute sessions. And you know, early in the I vastly underestimated how much energy it takes to do a 6-hour workshop.
Yeah.
And so everything was good up until lunch. I had them, you know, it was about 28 people. They were enthralled. We came back from lunch and did CDEvents and S-bombs, and I could just see it fading.
Or maybe,
you know, I did CDEvents first, so that one went pretty well. But when I got to S-bombs, like, the hands that were on the keyboards for the first 2 sessions quit being on the keyboards, and they were just kind of watching the screen as I worked through, you know, creating the S-bombs. Couple of lessons I learned is, one, that I'm gonna get to CDEvents earlier. I'm going to link the sections of the workshop together so that near the end, they're not getting a free period. And at the end, we'll be able to show how we created a chain of events and that we chained them all together. I was very haphazard with like the type of events I was creating early when I was going through the concepts. And I think that was a mistake. because there was no tie together between each section. For my first workshop, I guess it went pretty well. Like I said, I kept them enthralled for 3 of the 4 sessions. I also had a bad draw. The conference was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but Monday was a workshop day. Tuesday and Wednesday were the actual conference days. And then Thursday was the last day of workshop. So I had a bunch of dudes that are like, we got to catch a plane, you know? And so I had a bunch of casualties because of plane catching. And then I, mistakenly thought people would be interested in playing with the stuff.
Who are in the audience then? What kind of people were there listening?
All over the place. I had like 2 or 3 people that had done events before, but when they had done events poorly. When they started asking me about event priority, and I was like, well, wait, what do you mean event priority? Why do you need priority on the events? And then when they started talking about choking down their system and I was like, dude, I run this system. It's been running for 5 years at SAS, and we do, thousands and thousands of messages a second, and we can't bog anything down. So I don't even know what you're doing, but anyway, so yeah, I had a couple computer science guys that were a little too nerdy, but the rest of them were mostly like DevOps guys, and so like I said, they were pretty interested. I'm gonna refine the 2 things I'm gonna do is, one, I'm gonna fix the 6-hour workshop to be more interesting and more related, like each section relates to the next section, with the data. And then I'm going to make a shorter version for just CDEvents, and not have like SBOM in it or anything like that, right?
Right, yeah.
And then so was it Steve? Was it Steve that was asking about how he ties all that stuff together?
Yeah. I was thinking about that. If that's a use case you use already, or if it's something you want to add, because it seems to be a useful use case.
Yeah, we tie it all together using the wrapper, the CDEvents wrapper. I mean the cloud event wrapper around the CDEvent. So the CDEvent becomes the payload, and then the wrapper on the outside is yet another data structure. And then we've got the 5 variables that we use to hold all that stuff together. So we've got the name, the version, the release, the platform ID, and the package. And we use those 5 things to tie all the events together. And then we got the graph,
like a common context field in each event. Right, yeah.
And I've demoed I think I showed you guys a really quick demo, and I think you popped in late, Emil.
Right, yeah.
But
I think that what we refer to as the chain ID nowadays within the event payload, if we want to use it if we want to specify a context within the events, within the CDEvent itself, now we have this the chain ID property, which can be used, which is also then used in the links service.
Yeah. So yeah, and I was looking at what we've done with the links, and like you could just have an identifier in the link and put that identifier in every event that goes with that package or piece that you're trying to push through the system. You just need a way to query it.
Thinking with it, then it's just a common reference, a common context. So you will get, if you fetch all those events, you will just get a bag of a lot of events. You won't see what comes after each other and what are their relation types. Are they what kind of relations do they have, these different events? You just get the big bag of a lot of events coming from the same flow.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
You get so in our system, the unique identifier, so ULID's got a timestamp in it. So exactly when it was run. Even though there's also a timestamp field. Talk about redundant. Who designed this thing? But if you've been at it for a while, the first thing you do is, well, we need a timestamp and an updated stamp, and make your database admin happy. But yeah, there's time frames through all that. And then the CDEvents would be how you would they would relate back. Like there's no concept of you get a bag back of here's all the things that happened to this unit.
Mm.
There's no concept in our system of, what ties back to what. I would rely on CDEvents for that. I wouldn't try and reinvent that,
No, but that's what we can get from the links as well. I mean, if we have a flow with parallel activities, for example, then we can have the fan out and fan in. And if all of them send, or if all those events are linked using the link system, then you can actually reproduce that graph of actions or occurrences in your system based on those references between each event, and not just relying on the timestamps, because those will be interleaved, of course, if they are parallel activities.
Yeah.
But for basic things, of course, it could be enough with just sorting them on time, for sure.
Yeah, so the problem is well, no, it's not the problem. Observability is the problem, and that's the way to solve it's what you just said, right? I mean, what we'd love to get to is like, have you ever used like Cilium and Hubble? So you put Cilium on a Kubernetes cluster underneath your nodes, and then it's a eBPF thing, and then you point Hubble at it, and you get these wonderful pictures of your traffic in your Kubernetes cluster. And so, that grid would be a really great way to display it. The problem is I never get time to work on pretty. But if we could get time to work on pretty, that would be pretty cool. In the links diagram, there's a links service. So is that kind of like what my service is, I guess?
So let me take the sharing again here, so we can see what we're talking about. So in the wrong folder, you need to say in this document.
Yeah,
I mean, the link
service.
Yeah. So this is, I would say, this is required if you have these. I mean, if for the links solution now, there are two ways to declare links. Either you declare them as part of the events themselves. I mean, you include the link information in the event you send, and then that is more or less what you need to be able to visualize the whole thing or calculate metrics on the whole thing and follow the graph. If you would, the other way to do it is to have dedicated events where we just link information in them. So link events, or I'm not sure what they're called. So external, or let me see if it's maybe specified somewhere here. So I use the same terms. Link types, path link. Oh, where is that? State is somewhere that you can have them either as payload or as an external thingy. That's left out now. That's
Yeah, I think it is external links only, I think.
external links or internal links. Maybe that's how
Right.
it's. But I don't really.
External and embedded links and external links. That's the terms we used actually.
Okay.
Embedded. Yeah.
So okay. So they can be embedded. So links can be sent separately, or they can be embedded in the event context. So the embedded or external, rather. So if they are external, then it means that it's only the link information itself. I think there was an example of that somewhere.
Yeah, I saw that. Okay. I just need to go through this better, and then probably just get with Ben and see what a link service looks like.
Yeah. So then you need that to be able to connect the events. You need to communicate with this link service to find the different events that have been sent and related to the link events themselves. So
I'm dying to have a new Rust project. So
maybe this is a good candidate for.
I think it is.
I think you can discuss with Ben a bit about that, and I think I would expect him to also write some more information on how this link service is expected to work and its interfaces and those things. I mean, here it's more about the link protocol itself.
We're in the middle of putting Keycloak, supporting Keycloak with the EPR service. I think once I get the authentication onto the endpoints, that we want, we'll be feature complete enough that I can start a new project.
Cool.
I was hoping for more interest in the project after doing the workshop, but I haven't really seen any, so we'll see how it goes. Open source projects are a lonely business.
It often is, unfortunately. You need to be the key players to attract people somehow. Yeah, that's how it is.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I've got. That's pretty much all I've got, and I've got to run because I got to go walk the dog, and then I've got a 1 o'clock. I hate 1 o'clocks. So.
It was in San Diego, right?
Yeah.
If you want to add more information, you can add it here later on.
Yeah, I'm gonna add the link.
Yeah, perfect. Okay.
Again, like I said, I hope to get it fixed up soon, but for now, it is what it is.
Cool. Yeah, sure. Anyway, thanks for sharing more about CDEvents in the workshop and also trying to attract some interest.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I hope if I get, where else did I submit this? If I get another shot, another workshop, I'm definitely going to submit it again, but I'm going to trim it up a little bit. Maybe it won't have to be a 6-hour workshop, so we'll see. Yeah, and if anybody wants to, talk about the link service, we can do that too. All right.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, well,
anything else under Adam? Otherwise,
oh, that's it for me.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're done for now. For this time. Good talking to you, and see you next time.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.